All right, I'm out here in the garage. I got my '08 GT500, and some of you may or may not know from previous videos that the brake booster is going out on this thing. Well, it's gotten so bad that it started throwing lean code, so I'm going to try and replace it. The problem is that they don't make a GT500 booster anymore. This was specific to the GT500, and of course they don't make it anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the junkyard and I'm going to see if a 6-cylinder booster is anywhere remotely close to this car. So I'm out here, I want to get some pictures of the booster and take it to the junkyard and kind of compare it. And if it looks similar, I'm going to get it and put it on here and see how it drives. It's kind of hard to get a good look at this thing, and well, I hope it's able to come out of here without having to take this cylinder head off or something. I think I'm definitely gonna have to take the booster off. Hopefully I don't have to open up these AC lines. That's gonna be kind of a pain, but this back here is the booster, and that's what's bad on it. So I'm gonna head over to the junkyard and kind of see if a 6-cylinder looks like it might even fit in this thing. All right, I'm at the Chula Vista LKQ junkyard. They recently closed down the one in Oceanside. This one is huge though. Yeah, I love coming to the junkyard. You never know what you're gonna see. A crossfire. I rarely see these things on the road. There's somebody just threw one away. Not a Mustang, but Porsche 944. Solid, looks solid. Somebody threw this thing away. All right, here it is. I think this is a 06. Somebody pulled the engine out already, so that'll make it easier to get to that booster over there. But take a look at this. It's got stripes on it, so the booster's got to fit on a Shelby. All right, so I'm kind of eyeballing this booster, and I'll be honest, it looks exactly the same. Maybe a little bit smaller. Kind of hard to tell, but I'll take a closer look and compare it to some pictures and see. Either way, I think I'm going to take it. All right, here it is. Get the booster out. I did need to move the AC lines and the master cylinder to get this thing out of here. And I didn't bring any deep sockets. And guess what I needed for every one of these bolts? A deep socket. Luckily there was somebody here to hand me a deep socket, so it's all good. Got it out. Time to see if it'll fit in the GT500. All right, back at the GT500. I got the V6 booster, and I need to take this booster out. In order to do that, I need to make as much room as possible. So the AC accumulator over there has to get moved up. I'm going to try and do it without breaking open the AC system. But in order to move that out, I'm going to move this strut tower. This isn't the factory strut tower. I think it's a Ford Racing strut tower. It's a little bigger, but I'm going to take that off. I'm going to take this intake, at least the intake part right there, off. And then maybe even the coil covers, just so that I have enough room. Make sure that I have enough room to get that booster out of there. So first I'm going to get this strut tower off of here. Now I'm going to see if I can get this portion of the intake off of here. And I'm also going to take this coil cover off of here. It looks like it might give me another ½ inch or so of clearance. Mine is held on with, look like T30s. I don't know if these are factory bolts or not, but that's what's on mine. All right, this is the AC accumulator. I'm hoping that I can undo this bracket and just kind of bring it up over here. That way I can get the master cylinder out and then the brake booster off. I think there is normally a screw right here, but this one is missing. But there is one down in there. It's a little 8mm. All right, I don't know if I can move this out of the way. It feels like it's hitting on something. I don't want to break these lines either because this AC is under pressure. I'm going to loosen the 2 nuts that hold the master cylinder onto the booster. I got a feeling I'm going to have to pry this over, and I don't want it sitting there for a long time, so I'm going to get the master cylinder loose from the brake booster. And to do that, I got a little 6-inch extension. I got this thing wedged in there. That's a little 13mm, so hopefully it'll come out. Okay, there's only 2 nuts holding this on. I like to get the hard one first. So now I'm going to go ahead and get the easy side over here. Now the master cylinder is loose from the brake booster. I'm going to have to separate these lines and electrical from it. I'll go ahead and pop the electrical off of here now. This is the low fluid sensor. I feel like somebody's been in here before because this little connector here is broken. And this accumulator is missing a screw. I feel like somebody's been in here before messing around. All right, I think I got everything disconnected up here. I got the master cylinder loose from the booster. Only thing I haven't gotten loose is the brake lines and the hydraulic line to the clutch. So I'm gonna go underneath the firewall and see if I can't disconnect the push rod from the brake pedal. All right, there's a little green, I guess, safety pin right here. That's got to come out. There's usually a cover over that as well, so that it's like a safety cover. But it looks like this one's missing. So it also leads me to believe somebody's been in here messing around. So I'm going to slide that pin out. There's what that pin looks like. All right, now there's a little pin that slides out. This is what that looks like. Now there's 4 13 mil nuts that need to come off. And then the booster will come right out. So this is interesting. The top left one, the top left nut is not there. So somebody's definitely been in here messing around before. And they did their own little nut delete mod here. Well, that one's not very difficult to get to. I don't know why they would leave that one off. They probably just lost it. But that's it for underneath here. All right, now the moment of the truth. I can break these lines loose. I'm going to save the clutch cable one until after I get these brake ones loose, because I feel like these aren't going to leak that much, but this one might just come all out. So I'm going to go ahead and crack these 2 lines loose. All right, now I'm going to get this feed line for the clutch disconnected. Once I do, I'm going to try and pull this whole thing out. I got the brake lines loose. Also, keep in mind that you know, brake fluid is corrosive to paint, so you want to not drop any of this stuff on paint, and if you do, clean it as quick as possible. All right, since I got the hydraulic clutch cable line disconnected, I got brake fluid gushing out of this thing, so I'm going to go ahead and try and pull this master cylinder out of here. And keep it up like this to try and keep any of the fluid from falling out. All right, I lost a lot of brake fluid. I'm going to get these rags up out of here. All right, so here you can see the master cylinder's out. Hopefully this brake booster will just slide right out. I don't have to move this accumulator around, but hopefully I can work this booster out. All right, here goes. All right, so the booster's out. That wasn't too difficult to get out. And I'll tell you, looking at the 2, I got them next to each other here. These 2 look pretty identical. You know, from where the bolt's located at, everything physically looks the same. If we come around to the back, the bolts on the back, everything looks identical. So I think that this 6-cylinder one is going to work just fine. You know, also keep in mind though that it looks like somebody has been in here doing something with this brake booster. So this one that's coming out may not even be the factory GT500 one. Somebody might have replaced it already with a 6-cylinder booster, but I'm going to put a 6-cylinder booster back in there. And like, I think it felt fine before with the booster. It just leaked. And then, you know, it got so bad to where it threw a lean code. So time to put this guy back in. So I think I kind of remember how it came out. It kind of came out this way, work that in, and then slide it up in there. It's probably not going to be very easy to get into place. Let's see how it works out here. This thing is not wanting to go in. It feels like the holes are not lining up quite right. Okay, so I can get the holes lined up. I can get the studs in the holes, but there's a plastic piece on the bottom side that it seems to be loose. Let me show you what that looks like. So this little black plastic thing in the back here, seems like it's sagging down and the studs aren't going through it. There's a bolt up at the top that I think I can loosen up and then get some play and move that thing around and hopefully get it started on the studs. Okay, so there's two holding it up there. Now I can move it all around. And now I can get the bolts. Now it's through the bolts. So I'm gonna go back to the other side and I should be able to just push the booster straight through now. All right, so now let's see if this will slide in. Oh, yeah, nice, it goes in there easy. Okay, so now you can see the studs are going through there. I should be able to slide this pedal assembly up on there and get those nuts started. Once I get those nuts started, I'll put the two bolts back in the top of the pedal assembly, basically work underneath here, finish all this up. Put the push rod up against the pedal and then put the safety clip back on there. All right, I got the three nuts put back on there because somebody did a nut delete mod. I got the pin through the push rod and the safety clip on there. So I'm done down here. I also put those two bolts back on the top. I basically loosely got everything started and then tighten the top and then tighten the three that are holding the booster on there. So pretty much done down here. Move back up top side and put that master cylinder back on. Well, this isn't good. Brake lights are on and I'm not pushing on the brake. Okay, so this little spot usually pushes up against the brake pedal switch. I don't think it's pushing up far enough, so I'm gonna see if I can bend it up a little bit. This might be a bad idea, but let's see. Oh, that bends really easy. I think that'll probably be okay. All right, that did it. No more brake lights on. Time to see if I can get this master cylinder back in place. I want to get this in place as quick as possible to get these holes plugged here so it'll stop leaking all over the place. All right, of note, when you're trying to get these lines started, don't get frustrated and cross-thread them. You should be able to get them started by hand. It could make a bigger problem if you cross-thread those. Now that the master cylinder's in, I'll go ahead and put these two little nuts on there. Now we can do this little clip for the clutch and connect the low fluid sensor. And now this accumulator, AC accumulator, put back in place. All right, I got the inlet on there. I got the coil cover back on there. Pretty confident. I got this light back behind here so I can see when it's full. I'm gonna top it off with some Mustang 600. All right, time to start this up and see how the brakes feel. I mean, they don't feel squishy. They feel pretty good. So I don't think I got too much air in the system, if any. And, you know, I think if there is, it'll kind of self-bleed out of there. So I'm just going to pump the brakes a few times. That is how you bleed the clutch on these things. The service manual says you pump the clutch like 70 times. I don't think I got too much air in the lines for the clutch either, but let's go take a look at the master cylinder and see if that's leaking or anything. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I don't see anything leaking. I don't hear any vacuum leaks or anything like that. When I pressed on the brake, I didn't hear any vacuum leaks. That was the problem with this. It was leaking real bad. When I pushed it, it would start making a vacuum noise. All right, so driving it a little bit already, it feels like the brakes might be a little bit lower, so there probably is a little bit of air in the system, but it feels way better. I mean, when I had to disconnect the power booster because it was squealing so bad, basically with a vacuum leak, and it was throwing a code, a lean code, because it was letting all that air in there. So I unplugged it and I was driving around with no assist at all, and let me tell you, that was tough, hard to do. So this is 1,000 times better. This makes it so much easier. It feels pretty much the same, as what was in there before with the power boost, only now it's not, you know, obviously doesn't have a vacuum leak. So I'll bleed the brakes out, and I'll call that one a victory. It feels so much better. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Mustang content. Let me do one heartbreak and see how it does. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I'd say it works. The V6 booster works on a GT500.